What are you going to do now?
I'm going to ask you a
question.
Yeah. Okay, I want you to just sort of listen to me and think for a while, okay? Now, you have 4 brats, right?
Yes, sir. Well,
and what I want to do for a while is talk, or have you talk, about your 4 brats. Okay?
Like what?
Well, first of all, I just want to start with something general. I mean, I guess one question that I sort of have in mind is, you lived a lot of years before you had sons, and
Put my glasses on.
if you want,
And
you want to put your glasses on?
yeah,
They're right here.
because these are not ears for me.
Oh.
Because I'm tired.
Okay, so the question I want to ask you, Mom, is, what? Okay, you have 4 sons. Rather than talk about each one specifically, how is it? What kind of life has it been to have 4 sons, and in particular, the 4 of us, Phil, Ron, Dale, and myself? How has it affected your life, and what has it meant to have 4 sons and the 4 of us as your sons?
Can I start in the beginning before you're not doing it already, are you?
Yeah, but that's fine. Go ahead.
When we were expecting a baby, I wanted a girl, and Dad kind of went along. He said it didn't matter to him. I said, well, we want to have both, but first I'd like to have a little girl. Well, it was a boy, as you all know. And so we were delighted with him. The only thing, I can't say a lot of things, can I?
Yeah,
Huh?
sure.
Are you taping me already?
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead. Now, why don't you tell me what's in your mind?
I wanted him to nurse me. Huh?
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't. When he was born, he was already his own. he did what he wanted to do, and that was fine. So he was a bottle baby. And we used to buy him that SMA milk. In those days, it was expensive. But that's what the doctor recommended, and that's what we gave him, and he was delighted to do so, to be able to, afford it. And he was very healthy. He's always been very healthy. And Dad used to say that I worried too much about him. I didn't. I wanted him. We gave baby food and all the things that we wanted him to be, just get everything that a baby should have. And he was treated royally. He was the first grandchild, and punto. And he was spoiled. All the uncles and aunts and grandma and grandpa and mom and dad.
And where was Phil born?
At San Juan, near Saltillo.
Now, actually, and you gave birth at that house, right?
Yes.
Well, can you just briefly tell a story about? I remember something about you had to call the doctor, and can you tell that story a little?
Well, Dr. Drisdale was the Valdez mine doctor, and so he was my doctor. I went to him all the time. I didn't go to Trinidad, to doctors. And so when it was time, the doctor said it's any day now. We called him, and he came up. Grandma Vigil was there, and great grandma, my mother-in-law's stepmother was there.
What was her name?
Grandma Virginia.
Virginia what?
That was Aunt Lopez. She was my mother-in-law's stepmother. Grandpa Lopez's second wife. So she was just down the hill, and they all came up, and Bill couldn't be born. And so then Dad called a doctor in Trinidad. In those days, to go up at night from Trinidad and those roads, well. But he went up there.
Drisdale.
No, Drisdale was the company doctor.
Oh.
But when the doctor was called from Trinidad, can you imagine? I forgot his name. I think he died here.
Not Conley.
Anyway, he was a younger doctor. And so he came up, and Dad had to go meet him down the highway because he didn't know where the house was. There's no street, no.
Was this Drisdale?
No, that doctor from Trinidad.
Oh.
Well, Drisdale was already with me. He said, I need another doctor. The baby's not coming.
I see.
And we have to hurry. So our doctor was at a party, and they managed to get him and told him to come up. It was an emergency up at San Juan, near Segundo, So he left the party drinking and at night and not knowing where he's going, a house with no number, but nice house and everything, but no numbers, out in the country. So when he came in, he said, get me then there's family all there, 4 or 5 or 6 or 8, I don't know how many. He said, get me a towel. I told him, they ran and got him a towel. No, I'm sorry, not a towel, a sheet. Got him a sheet, and he tied it up from the bed, and he said for me to pull. And there we are, everybody looking, and everybody worried, and these 2 doctors.
And Grandma Ignacita and Virginia were both there still?
Oh, you bet. And Aunt Virginia, Dad's aunt, and so this doctor from Trinidad took over and neglected Dr. Drisdale, our first doctor, company doctor from Valdez. And he said, he took over and he said, you pull on that sheet, and because that baby has to come out right now, we don't want any trouble, and we want him to be okay. So there we are, I am on the sheet, but I'm pulling, I'm strong, Always been.
Because it was your first baby, too.
The first baby, you bet. So finally, pretty soon, yay, here comes Phil crying. And I said, hey, I'm hurting, of course, but I was so happy that he was out. That's the story of Phil.
And just to finish that, then what happened after that? Then you fell asleep? Or?
Well, then no, I didn't fall asleep then. We didn't drink in those days, so Dad made whatever, coffee or tea, and we had some other things there. The doctors left, Dad paid them. And,
well, you don't know what he paid them, do you?
No, I don't remember. Very little compared to now. And I had made some cookies and things, food. So everybody had a bite to eat. And, but then he wouldn't nurse. That was a big problem. He wouldn't nurse. So we put him on the bottle. And that he'd take that like he would or candy. And that's the way he was raised with the bottle.
Okay, good. Should we move on to the numero
dos? He was very healthy. But Dad used to say, don't worry about him. I said, I don't think he's gained, the doctor's gained this and he's gained in one way. Don't worry about him, Dad said. He's going to be okay. He always told me. So he, that was the beginning of his life. My little thing.
And you remember the date?
December,
right?
December something. 1919, okay. 36?
Right.
All right. You got to remember that. But then there's more with you.
Okay, well, go on to the next one.
Ronnie?
What was that like?
With Ronnie, all through the pregnancy, I was so relaxed with him. Maybe the first one with Phil is what made me, the first one, I always, you don't know what it's going to be like and you don't know what's going to happen. But with Ronnie, I was more relaxed. And no problem. I called the doctor.
Of course, you were in Trinidad this time.
Oh, yeah, we were in Trinidad. Dr. File was his doctor. I think he moved here or he just died or something. I saw his name. Dr. File. He's the only one born in Trinidad.
Right.
And so Dad used to go out a lot to meetings. He was in politics. There were Democrats there in courthouse in Trinidad. I was alone a lot, and I told him, look, it's getting near. You better stick around here, so if I need you. We had a phone and everything. So we called him, Dr. File, and he came. And no problem for him was he was born. Just us. We didn't have time to get relatives or anybody, nobody. And he was fine. And then he nursed like crazy. I think 8 months or, I don't know, many months.
He was a chubby little baby, right?
Oh, you bet. The doctor said that there again. The doctor said you have very good milk. And if you can nurse him, I recommend it. So.
Mom, do you remember the address where he was born? I know I've been there. You showed me once. But
what's who lived right across the street from where we lived in Trinidad, where Ronnie was born? My friend, what's his name?
Lloyd?
Lloyd's, in fact, Phil and Lloyd's son played together. They were 7 years old. His in-laws lived across the street from our house.
What's the name of the street? Oh, okay. I know, you mentioned it before. Well, if you think of it, tell me.
Okay. And so then no problem. I nursed him, I think, 9 months or something, a lot, till I was tired. He was a fatty. And that was that. But then comes later on, a few years later, comes you know what.
The two brats.
I was supposed to have one, and that could make a movie, because when we were expecting a baby, we thought we wanted a girl this time.
For sure.
For sure, a girl. And I was expecting them, and then Dad gets transferred. You know the whole story. You want me to tell it? You know.
Go ahead and tell it.
Well, I'm gonna try if I can. He gets transferred, don't you know, to Brownsville, Texas, from this faraway place in Colombia. Dear Lord.
Venezuela,
During the war.
Venezuela. Where were you in Venezuela?
What was it?
Yeah, Caripito.
Oh, it was Caripito. Yes, right. I'm way ahead of myself. Caripito, and right where the ships used to come in during the war. Dad was in charge of its first post. And so there, I'm expecting the baby. And I went to the hospital for a checkup before Dad said, you have to go deal with Phil and Ronnie. Because the doctor said, if you stay here longer, you have to stay here to have the baby. And I won't be here because I have to report to the consulate in Matamoros. So the doctor recommended that you go ahead now, right now. So he got me my passport ready for me to enter Panama and Mexico and then into Brownsville, Texas. So, Dad used to, the name of the airport from where Dad worked in the American consulate was Caripito. No, not Caripito. Medellin, eh?
Caripito.
Caripito?
Yeah.
Okay. So Dad takes me and takes me to the plane, and we take off with Phil and Ronnie and to Panama. Okay, we land in Panama in those old planes, and so we all get off the plane and check in, you know, the Panamanian, what do you call it, the office where they check you
Immigration.
Immigration, right. So when I present my passport to my two boys, they said, by the way, you don't have here a permit to enter Mexico. Dad's secretary forgot to do that. I mean, Dad didn't check it right. I mean, he thought she was a sharp girl, but she didn't do that. So they held up the plane. And here I am, I could hardly walk. And Phil and Ronnie found those doors that open, go in and out, go around. Well, they had a ball doing that while I'm worried about it, and they're doing my passport to enter Mexico. I don't think I nearly fainted, and I could hardly walk. So finally, it was so nice, they held up the plane for me, and we ended up, what do you call it, landed in Mexico City. You know, you could make a movie out of it.
Oh, you landed in Mexico. First, you went to Guatemala City, didn't you?
Huh?
Didn't you go to Guatemala City first?
Oh, no. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. Guatemala City. I slept there the first night.
Right.
That's it, in the old plane. You're right. See? And I slept there that one night with the boys, and I began to get sick. I said, dear Lord, no, you can't get sick now. So I called the girl, and she came in. She said, you're going to be all right. Just try and get to sleep. So I did. And I gave him a bath, Jill and Ronnie, and then went to night. Luckily, I was tired. So then they woke me up early, and here we go. You're right. To Mexico City. Early, we landed there. And again land there. And then we take off to Brownsville.
Okay. And then you met Dad there.
No, Dad couldn't make it, so his vice consul, or his, I don't know if it was his boss, or I think they had two officers there anyway. Somebody from the consulate went.
It wasn't Harold Pease, was it?
Wasn't Dad? Dad couldn't get off or something.
It wasn't Harold Pease.
It might have been. Hey.
But that was his boss, though.
Eh?
Harold Pease was his boss.
But there was another consul there. I have to ask what's her name sometime. She's still living. What's her name's mother? And so there, and right immediately I was told to go check a doctor because I was pretty close to the end. And so I checked with the doctor, and then he took me and all that. And I told him, Doctor, I'm very heavy. I can hardly walk. I said, I think I'm going to have twins. I don't know why I said that, but I did. Why twins? I mean, I just said, but I said it. And later on, everybody knew in parties, after you guys were born. And the doctor would go to a lot of these parties. And Girly, he used to call me Girly.
Who was the doctor?
I think I have it written somewhere. Renfro.
Renfro, yeah.
I think.
Renfro.
He said, and a lot of people come to parties in this, high society there in Brownsville. Girlie, I'll never forget. You said, doctor, I think I want to have twins, but you know what? And he said, I never thought, never for a minute thought you were going to have twins. And you were right, you had them. He said, and they're fine. I understand. I said, yeah, they're fine. We're all fine. And then I nursed you guys such 6 months. I nursed you too? How did I do that? Well, my milk was always good, except Phil didn't want it.
Good Arab milk, right?
Well, whatever. See, we didn't drink in those days. Maybe that helped. So there we were. You guys nursed like crazy.
Okay, Mom. Now, make a big leap here. So you've had 4 sons now.
Yeah.
Now think about that. 4 sons. You and Dad had 4 sons. But what do you, without getting too detailed, what do you think about your 4 sons? You and Dad, as most parents, wish the best for your sons. What are your thoughts about your 4 sons?
Honey, how can I tell you? And one thing that I say, I don't know, Grandma Vigil was very, I think Dad was her favorite. I never had favorites. Not because Phil sometimes said el primero, or los últimos, or anything like that. No way. I've never had favorites. Dad didn't either. Well, maybe some people, if they do, they want to, that's up to them. But we didn't. To this day, there's no such thing, never with us, about favorite son out of 4. No way, you can't do that. You know that. You have 2 girls. You can't say. But some people do. My mother had a favorite. She had 8 children. She had a favorite. We all knew it. Eh?
Nash.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that she didn't love the rest of us. You know what I mean? Well, that's that. Then...
What kind of kids were we? We were little kids, 5 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old. What kind of kids were we all? Like, they used to call Ron Pee-wee, right? Like, what was Ron like, for example, as a little kid?
Well,
That
Phil was a dear little brother to his little brother, Ronnie. He protected him. He was very good to him. And he seemed very happy that he had this little brother, So he was, to this day, I think they have been, I don't know now, very close. All of you are, but you know what I mean. And then comes the twins, and that disrupted. Then the attention was, hey, the twins, and we'd have society parties in Brownsville, Texas. We had to have some people over. By the way, they'd come in and say, we want to see those twins, and so then that left Phil and Ronnie on the side a little bit. We want to see the twins. That was, the attention was on the twins. What a, guys, I should write down all things. See, I'm forgetting things.
Well, that's why I'm doing this.
And they're the twins. Yeah. Imagine. So then we decided not to have a girl.
No more.
No, not to have another one. Might be twins again. Who knows? Dear Lord, no. No way, Jose. But yeah, that is something.
How would you say, when we were kids, like for example, when we were in Cali, Colombia, how did we get along? How did the kids get along?
Cali?
Yeah.
You mean you 4?
Yeah.
Oh. Your brothers were very good to you, Phil and Ronnie. Ronnie was a little jealous in the beginning. Not to a bad thing, but we noticed little things. Because the attention was now on you and Dale. But I don't mean that he was, hit you or anything like that. No, not that at all. But we noticed a little change. Because you know why? He began to lose weight.
Oh, really?
Yes. And we went to talk to the doctor, not with him. He said, no, that's normal. He said the attention, not all children do that, but some do. And he said, don't worry about it. And I said, he'll get over it. And sure, of course he did. Soon. He was okay. See, the attention was on you and Dale. But Phil, I never sensed it on Phil, because he he already had gone through it with Ronnie, getting the attention. But, you know, you boys have been, you twins, everywhere for many years after that were, oh, you have twins. Look at the cat over there. What a pretty cat. Look at the jumping cat. There she goes. So you've always been kind of a... It's funny how they say that twins of all people have three or quintuplets and all of that. But they say that twins are the most... There's something about twins I read and I've heard. I don't know why. I don't understand it. I mean, people having twins. I don't get it, but, well, you know, there's this woman, they said she has 95 children.
What?
At the Lubin's party the other day, it went around saying this woman somewhere in the United States had 95 or 96 children. Half or half. I said, now, come on, everybody said it. I don't know. But anyway, but twins for some reason are very special something. Maybe you'll hear it someday. When you say twins, it's something that I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. See, my grandmother had twins. My mother's mother had twins.
What was her name?
Dolores.
Oh, that's what you named after, right? Your namesake.
And cousin Mercedes should have had that name, Dolores, because she was the first granddaughter. That's Elisa's grandmother. Also. Elisa, you know Elisa and Paul Pacheco from Arizona. She was the first granddaughter of cousin Mercedes. She should have, what did I say? What was I saying?
She should have been named Dolores.
She should have been named Dolores. And I don't know, they named her Mercedes. You know what? I have so much to tell you before I die. Someday when you have time. And also about my grandfather, my mother's father.
Well, say a few words now.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Melquiades.
Okay. What can you say about him?
Eh?
Say something about him.
The name was Deorthi. Deorthi, his friend. And they changed it to Ortiz. I don't know why they did that. And you want to know a little bit about him? There's some people living, you remember my cousins?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they could tell you a lot
Well, what's
more.
her name again?
Aida Chacon. Aida Medina. Chacon was her maiden name. Related to my mother.
You remember where she lives?
She's still in the same place. They're still
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
same
Okay.
time.
You have the address somewhere, right?
Yeah. I've invited them to come and have lunch before winter here with me because of her daughter-in-law still drives. And I want him to come. I think I'll call him tomorrow. But anyway, my grandpa, my mother's father, married 3 times. First time with my grandma Dolores. Second time, they had how many children? I forget, 5 or 6. Second time, he married my stepfather's widow mother. They had no children. She was older already. Not old, but older. And then the third time was with my Aunt Alice and just died. Matilda. Married for the third time with their mother, and they had the two daughters. Aunt Alice and Aunt Matilda. You went to Aunt Matilda's funeral?
No. Where was that? No, I didn't go.
You know what? Can I mix this in here? She was quiet, she was always kind of quiet, but hard worker, good mother.
I remember her.
Good person. She was one of my favorite aunts. That's my favorite aunt. That funeral, Lloyd, by the way, attended the funeral at the church only. She didn't go to the funeral. She's buried over there at the Veterans, what do you call it? Cemetery. It's one of the biggest funerals I've ever been to in my life. Matilda's funeral.
This is a quiet person.
But I think, it was fantastic. They hired about 4 or 6 policemen to take care of the traffic going from the church up here all the way down to the cemetery. Oh, I loved her. I miss her. I cried for her yet. We were very close. Same age. Anyway, that's my grandpa's third marriage and the two daughters, Natalia Shannon and Matilde Velasquez. Velasquez was her second husband. She had a daughter that was 20 years old and was killed in an accident back home, and you know that has to be something else. She was strong, though. A good worker, a good person. I miss her. Miss her very much. The same age. Here my mother had me, and my grandpa's third marriage had my Matilde. We were both born at the same time. Oh, I can tell you, you can write a book about my family. You can write a book.
No, Mom. I'm going to shift again, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to think about, and I know it's been a long time ago, but I want you to shift and put your mind into Tegucigalpa, Honduras. Remember when we were there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I was about 4 and 5 years old there, something like that. Can you just talk a little bit about what your life was like there in terms of dad, in terms of your 4 sons, your social life, and what your personal life? Where were you personally? What's going on in your mind personally? Just sort of focusing on Tegucigalpa, Honduras, which was about, 49 and... You arrived in 49, didn't you? 1949?
Yeah.
And you stayed till about, 51?
We stayed, I think, every bit of 2 years. Or maybe
Okay, so
more.
49 to 51 is sort of what I recollect.
Right. Well, you know, with Dad's first embassy, I think there were the ambassador and 2 or 3 officers. I think 3 officers. And Dad was, the others had been in the service a little bit longer. Dad was kind of, new. And one thing about your dad that carried him over is great. He was so intelligent, of course, like my sons are. And he knew his immigration law, and that got him over big from the beginning. He was a great help. He'd get praise from some ambassador that were amazed at how much he knew. Well, he was an immigration officer, you know.
Right.
Before that, so down his alley. And anyway, so we looked for a house for the longest time. Finally, we found a house. Dad liked it. I wasn't sure if I liked it. It was a nice modern house.
Is that the one we lived in?
Lovely, yes. But the thing you don't remember that.
Yes, I do.
Oh, do you?
It was by the river, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember that they used to go to the stadium and pass right. Back and forth, the people down.
Right.
Going down to the stadium. And, but we were young, it didn't bother me that much. Now it would. Let's see now. I forget how old Phil was then. Was it 39?
He must have been about 13 or so.
Yeah.
12 or 13.
And Ronnie went to school there a little bit.
Yeah. See, because Dale and I started school there in kindergarten, in first grade.
Honey, but you're forgetting the Dad's immigration days.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going in order. I just want to focus
okay.
on
Well, sometime I want to tell you about that because Phil's first time in school. Okay, then. Talk about parties. We hadn't been to parties that much until we arrived in where? Tegucigalpa. The embassy being there, parties all the time, and we had to go. We had to go not as guests, but to help the ambassador, the officers, to be help with the parties. And then I was made. Two ladies called one time. They said they wanted to our house. They wanted to come and talk to Mrs. Vigil. I said, "This is Mrs. Vigil." Yes, this is she. So they came. Oh, we came here, Mrs. Vigil, to ask you to be our. They have this charity club, American Women. They're always doing everywhere they go. They're always into things like that some of the local women don't do that much. Maybe now they do. I don't know. We want you to be the secretary of our charity club. I've never done anything like that before, ever. I was there, I don't know how many months I was. And you know what, I look back now and I did so well. And I had to give a report at the end of the year full of Okinawan Ladies High Society and the American.
Honduran.
Honduran, I mean. What did I say?
Okinawan.
Okinawan.